Welcome to the Kaleidoscope, Healthcare in a Diverse America, from molecule to market, with your host, Sheila Thorne. Each episode highlights healthcare leaders and patients of color to discuss culturally, linguistically appropriate strategies and services. You can find this show on all major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, SheilaThorne.com. Now here's the host of the Kaleidoscope, Sheila Thorne.
Hello, the patient voice, the patient journey. Clearly, these are buzzwords that we've been hearing a lot about in the last decade. And there's no question that when you're talking about communities of color, one size does not fit all. If you're looking to do outreach and engagement of communities of color, you first must do your homework and really understand the culture of people of color, beyond just people of African, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, and Native American descent. Our episode today is going to talk about Indigenous peoples, folks that were here long before any of us got here, and many of us have forgotten that. So clearly, it is my pleasure to share with you what I have learned about this culture. And in fact, that's one of the joys that I have in the work that I have done for the last 27 years in how to help companies and organizations who have healthcare on their agenda to reach out effectively. So where are you on the cultural competence continuum? What do you know about Indigenous populations? In my career, it's only been in the last couple of years that any company, any organization have even been interested in reaching out to American Indians, Pacific Islanders, Alaska Natives, Hawaii Natives. So we're now in a new arena. Are you comfortable in that space? Do you have many of these populations in your neighborhood, in your community, in your market? When you do reach out to these groups, what do you know about them? Hopefully you're not stuck on stereotypical images of these populations, but are willing and open and ready to embrace difference so that everyone receives quality health care, no matter what they look like, what language they speak, or where they come from. More than any other state, Hawaii stands out when it comes to racial and ethnic diversity. Hawaii has never had a majority white population. Hawaii was first a U.S. territory and later became a state in 1959. As far as health is concerned, historically, the death rate among Native Hawaiians accelerated after the first contact with Western foreigners. Sexually transmitted infections, measles, chickenpox, tuberculosis killed thousands of Native Hawaiians. By 1800, the population declined by 48%. By 1820, it declined by 71%. By 1840, by 84%. But in the 1980s, the population began to resurge. Population began to accelerate. So that now today, there are over 680,000 Native Americans, according to the 2010 census, on mainland USA. In fact, there are more Native Hawaiians in the United States mainland than in Hawaii itself. So we're clearly looking at a population that has pockets of opportunity, especially if you're looking at the states of California, Washington, Nevada, Texas, and Oregon. Collectively, about 1.7 million in the population. And this data that we have is not disaggregated yet. So when you look up Native Hawaiians, it's lumped together with American Indians, Hawaii Natives, Alaska Natives, and all of those are lumped into Indigenous populations. The people who were here in this country long before anyone came to this country. And quite similarly, they have some of the same health challenges, the social determinants, all of those things that impact getting access to care in a timely fashion. So clearly we know that if we're striving for health equity, and I hope this is not just a buzzword for you, but is real, maybe this population is one that would benefit greatly from health information and health education. So I'm going to bring to you one of my dear friends who has taught me a lot about the Native Hawaiian community. And we'd like to bring on my special guest today, Alicia Leigh Hauki. Aloha, Alicia.
Aloha, Sheila. It's wonderful to see you today. I'm really excited about this conversation. I can't wait to dive into this topic.
Excellent. Well, before we even get into that, Alicia, tell us about the term aloha. It's used to say hello and goodbye. And is there any other meaning to that? Can you hear me, Alicia? What
A little
about
bit
that?
choppy.
What about that expression aloha? What else does it mean besides hello and goodbye? Any other meaning attached to that word?
Oh, I can't make out your question.
Aloha. Can you give us a definition for aloha? Sarah, how are we doing with our sound?
I think you're asking for other greetings.
Yes, aloha. Give us a definition for aloha. Okay, she's having little technical difficulties here, but she'll be back on shortly. Okay, we'll wait for our technical production team to help get Alicia back online. But I think it's important as you reach out to some of these populations that you do your homework. And I've emphasized that on the Kaleidoscope. Don't get stuck in the stereotypical images of these groups, as many have. Don't be reluctant and even resistant to reaching out to new populations, to learning about different cultures so that you are culturally appropriate, culturally relevant, and can connect with these populations on the ground, in communities, and in neighborhoods. So that's what I want to talk to Alicia about in terms of what is the Hawaiian family? What are some of the dynamics that we need to know about that population group? And who really runs the decision making? Who really challenges the family in terms of healthcare issues and screening and obviously getting care? What is their view of Western medicine? How do they think about Western providers? So that's what Alicia is going to share with us, and hopefully we can connect technically and get her to give us some insight and perceptions. Okay, Alicia, are you back? Hello,
I'm
Alicia?
back. I'm back.
Back. Okay, I asked the question was, is there another definition for aloha besides just hello and goodbye? Does it mean something else? Can you hear me, Alicia?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Aloha means many things. One of the biggest things that aloha means outside of traditional greetings is it conveys love. Aloha is an all-encompassing word for the word love, which is probably the hardest word to define in English language. So
yes,
pretty good.
Well, talk to us about the Native Hawaiian family. How is that set up? What are the dynamics of a Native Hawaiian family? Native Hawaiian.
The dynamics of the Native Hawaiian family, we're very family-centric.
Boy, oh boy, we're having definitely transmission issues here. One of the things that Alicia has shared with me over the time that we've been together is that much like the Black, Hispanic, and Asian communities, family is very key. Family is important, and family definitely is where the community surrounds itself. It's very insular. So like all of these groups, because they have been not widely accepted by the mainstream population, they come together and take care of each other and are they're very suspicious of outsiders and people who want to come into their areas. And so clearly that's something that anybody reaching out to this population has to be aware of. Okay, Alicia, we're back. Talk to me about the Native Hawaiian family.
A Native Hawaiian family, we're very family-centric. There's grandparents, there's parents, there's aunties, there's uncles, and we are large families. I have a very large family, and we also we adopt people. So the traditional word for that is hanai. When someone somehow becomes part of your family, they don't have to be related. They can just somehow be adopted into your family, and we're just very family centric, and we're just lots of family values. We look up, there's so much respect for our elders, and there are many programs, special programs set aside to ensure the responsibility is upheld from each of us to take care of our elders. And there's just a great deal of respect for them in our culture.
And talk about children, about child rearing and how children are raised by and considered in the family. Children. Can you hear me? Oh boy, Sarah, we're having real problems with this. Okay, let's see whether we can get her back on again. One of the things that Sarah mentioned is the fact that the family is very respectful of elders. We've seen that in the Black community, in the Hispanic community, and when we talk about more of the Asian community in more detail, we'll see that there as well. And as I said, many of the conditions and health conditions that this group suffers from are very similar to other populations, but their view of wellness, their treatment of disease has to be very different and really driven in the culture of the community. Spirituality is important. Song and dance is important. So all of these cultural dynamics help you to connect in a very genuine, realistic way. And in order to be trusted, have the trusted messengers talk about health, you need to understand that dynamic and be willing to be broader in your perspective about this population that many people may not know very much about. But Alicia is working in the domestic violence arena in California. And so health becomes a part of how she connects with the community. She does a broad-based program on domestic violence in the state of California. So it's been very instrumental. Her feeling of family, connectivity, respect for elders has all been part of this dynamic. And quite frankly, when you reach out to any communities of color, this becomes a critical connectivity appointment so that you really need to understand how these groups think, feel. And as I have often said in the Kaleidoscope, race is the most significant factor in how you get care, when you get care, and how you feel about treatment and Western medicine and providers. And I hope when we connect with her again, we'll have that particular dynamic discussed by Alicia. So Sarah, are we good with getting her back on? All right, well, transmission is not our friend today, but I hopefully Alicia will come on and share some of her insights about how best to connect with these populations. So clearly, we're definitely interested in knowing more about this population. Unfortunately, our transmission is not working very well, and we'll have to cut this segment short. But let's revisit it during May, which is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, where we'll have a panel of folks from each of those Indigenous groups talk more about their experiences in healthcare. But let me close with some of the conversations that I've been having recently with people who want to reach out to communities of color. A lot of talk about striving for health equity, not as much talk about eliminating health disparities. And that's going to be very, very important, because if you eliminate disparities, that's the stepping stone to striving for health equity. So hopefully you have broadened your perspective in how you look at the marketplace, how you partner with community-based organizations, and how you help those organizations be the brokers and the gatekeepers of getting involved in the community. So race matters and culture counts. So where are you on the cultural competence continuum? Are you heading toward competency and proficiency? Or are you stuck on not really understanding the role of culture, the media that you use, the partners that you bring in? This is a dynamic space, and we have to be willing to stretch our comfort level, to get out of an uncomfortable space so that we can make sure that quality health care is the civil right, as long as it's accessible, as long as it's affordable and equitable. So let's end our segment today, and we'll be prepared to revisit the Native Hawaiian community during another time when we can talk to providers as well as patients. So on behalf of all of my production team and my team at Kaleidoscope, thank you for listening in today. Okay, Sarah.
You've been tuning into the Kaleidoscope, Healthcare in a Diverse America from Molecule to Market, with your host, Sheila Thorne. You can find more episodes on all the major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, SheilaThorne.com. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others.